Welcome to a Delco Nerd Network hot take. Guys, if you haven't seen a hot take before, well, it's where a few friends get in a basement, give our thoughts, give our opinions on a TV show, a movie, or a game, or an anime. Today, it's going to be the anime Attack on Titan Season 4, Part 2. Of course, my name is Anthony Ragucci, and here to discuss the Kung Fu Jedi himself, Mike Mandell. He's back.
Yep. How you doing, Anthony?
Good, man. I'm trying to think when we did that Star Wars podcast. It was right before COVID.
Yeah, it was.
It was literally right before COVID. I think it was like January.
Yeah, I think it was January. Geez, it's crazy.
I know. I honestly, I look back at that one. I think that's like one of our best, like very unstructured podcasts.
Yeah, I still love the meme that someone made when they were watching it of all of our faces on the poster.
Yeah, absolutely. But of course, we're not here to talk about Star Wars. Unfortunately, we're here to talk about Attack on Titan, the final season. Of course, we're getting a part 3, which was kind of weird that this was like slated as being like the last part.
I feel like so far they both have. Like last season was like that too, and when I started last season, I was like, wait a minute.
See, when they put part 1, it's like, oh, okay, there's going to be another part. But then with this one, I was like, I guess this is the end. Yeah. And as a non-manga reader, which I was like, okay. You know, I don't really know the source material all that well.
I think they could finish it with part 3 though, like where they're at. So
I think it'd be kind of ridiculous if they did it again. Be like, JK.
Because they keep saying it's going to be the end. You can't just.
But this show has been just so fucking good. What are your thoughts, man? Broad level thoughts about the whole part 2 season. I guess part 1 too.
Yeah, no, as a whole, I think it was great. Like part 1, I felt like seemed a little rushed in certain aspects of it. I think once they got into the whole humans are a part of this too, it felt a little rushed for me at first, but now I think it's really like this season as a whole, and we'll get into the individual episodes or whatever, but once they started giving you the memories and like the real lore about everything,
it really season 3.
Yeah, it started coming to you and and slowed down a little bit, and I like that a lot. And I think this season did a really good job at giving us the actual lore of the world.
Yeah, I'm glad you bring that up, because I think you look at like this whole season kind of is like a Trost arc, because like in season 1, Trost was like it wasn't bad, but it's like, holy shit, this is like a 9-episode battle and we're still fucking going. And it's just like, I don't know where this is going. We don't, it's season 1. We don't know the show yet.
Yeah.
We're not in the thick of it yet. So it kind of feels like undeserved a little bit, but when you get here, now that we're going like 2 miles an hour every episode, it's like 20 minutes real time in the episode. Like you're like, this is well earned. Like you like it because 1, it's ending, and 2, it's like, okay, we need this time to kind of go over all these points.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it started off like on a great note too, with Eren versus Reiner and Piek and Galliard at the same time.
Part 1 goes right into part 2, like no sort of time skip, like no moment skip. It's like boom, boom.
Yeah, exactly. I think they did a great job this season.
Yeah.
I laughed real hard in the beginning episode. Like it starts off with Piek and her hand cut off.
Yeah.
And just like, grows back.
Yeah.
But no, it was good. So like as a whole, what do you think of the animation quality?
Dude,
it's so interesting. It's so different than
I don't know what you know about anime behind the scenes. I know nothing. So feel free to like chime in.
I'm not too crazy
because I was always asking. I'm like, so why did they change from Wit to Mappa? Like I was just like, it seems like it's doing well. Like I'm curious why they switched. And I think somebody told me it was like really standard, like reasoning. Like they had too many projects or something like that. So Mappa took over, and I have to give it to them. Like the fight scenes, like it. I'm almost glad they switched.
No, it's good. Like at first I was
really
like, this
nice.
is crazy, but like, it's good.
Especially like the 3D Titans.
Yeah.
At first it was like, this is like kind of weird. You know, we're getting into that. Like some animes go full for that. I think like the newest Berserk anime did all of that, and it's a little jarring from the 2D style, and I feel like everyone kind of always is like, ugh, they always like end up not liking it, but like. I'm like, okay, like for the Titans, like it makes sense. They are kind of like these, hulking colossus things, and they're really detailed and they're moving, and it's like, you know, and like the way they're fighting, it just makes sense.
Yeah, it helps with like the destruction of the buildings when they're doing like big moves against each other and stuff like that. I agree. They're the faces and stuff though. The one
always with the dark lines.
There's so much emotion behind those drawings though. Like it's so like, and that's kind of how it was in the manga. So like it's well done on portraying those emotions.
I guess that's something I didn't really realize, that, you know, in the other seasons they don't really do much of that from what I remember.
It's more traditionally animated.
Right, those lines are all over characters' faces in this season.
Oh my god.
Every chance they get. Yeah. And I think one of my favorite scenes of the show is when I forget what episode it is, like titled and like what number, but it's the one where they're at the port and Flock is like, you know, he has to blow up the ship to stop them.
Yeah.
And he's like, the animation of him, like, you know, like he's like getting mad and then he just fucking goes for it, and like everyone's coming at him, and the way he like dodges, and fucking Hanji like hits him and like slices his face, but he keeps moving, and like the sound effects of his foot's like pattering against the ceiling, and the momentum of his thunder spear like kind of like taking him up, and like I'm like, holy shit. I don't think they could have done this any better. No, like, I was like so amazed. Like I rewound that like 30 times.
Yeah, no, that was an awesome scene too. And then he just falls into the water.
Yeah, I guess he's dead.
Yeah, like
I guess we're not seeing any more of Flock.
He was crazy in this season. You know, like very gory, like multiple times with the gun to the head of characters and stuff like that.
You know what's really funny? I mean, like Flock as a character, like you're designed to hate.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? Like you're not supposed to like Flock.
Yeah.
He's like against the group. And even in season 3, when he's introduced, he's kind of just like a fucker, you know? He's here. Who are you? You're the new character to the group. Like, what are you doing here with your fucking hair? Yeah. And he really gets radicalized in season 3 by Erwin's like speech. And he's the only survivor of. They're in Shiganshina, right? Or no?
I think so. Yeah, he's
the only one who lives through that.
I think so. Yeah.
So like. Right, like that, like he's radicalized, you know, hearts and souls of the cause. He says it. He adopts Aravind's like thing, and I'm like you gotta hate him for that, but at the same time, it's like it all kind of makes sense that he would do that, because he's like the only one to come out of this like pivotal moment in the battle between Marley and Paradis.
Yeah, and then one of the underlying themes of this whole show is like there's no real good guy in the end. Like, you know what I mean? Like with
Eren,
all of them,
our protagonist, is now an antagonist.
Yeah, exactly. While every character, however, is doing something with a good intention behind it. You know what I mean? So it's like you can kind of visualize from each of their point of views. Like, okay, he's doing this, but like it's kind of justified a little bit, and
so
it's.
I think that's the best part of the show. The fact that like you've been with Eren so long, so you kind of you know the deal, like the whole fucking deal.
Yeah,
like there's not a part of his story that you're like in the clouds on. Like everything is crystal clear. You get why he's doing what he's doing, and in any fucking regular situation, anyone committing genocide, you'd be like, no way, like this is wrong. But like for some reason, I'm not like super like I want to be against Eren, but at the same time like there's something makes me not like be very in the middle on it. I think that speaks to just the quality of the writing and the show and the source material.
Absolutely. No, the writing is phenomenal with that, and they really make it hard to excuse me, they make it hard to see who you want to follow and like who's the right one in the situation. Like, it's either do all of the Eldians die and then everyone forgets about them, or does everyone else in the world die? And Eren has decided, you know, he's going to do this for his friends, and like toward the end of the season they start figuring that out, but like they're like, shit, do we have to stop him, or like what's right? You know what I mean?
And because that's the thing, it's genocide on both ends.
Yeah.
And, like Eren is like trying to quell hatred, and like that's kind of his thing. It's like you can't, like he's not like, is he wrong? And it's just like, I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna watch.
And it does a good thing, because that's a tried and true trope of many anime, is the cycle of hatred. And this one does a really good job of showing that and how characters are trying to stop that. And those scenes toward the end of the season with Armin and Connie, when they're at the port And like,
Yeah.
he's like, you
so
are
good.
you are my
my
friends,
brother, yeah.
as he's literally has to shoot him, and it's
and
like,
real quick, one thing we didn't mention: you watch the sub, I watch the dub.
yeah. At least all their names are the same.
Yeah. Because so in the dub, he's like, you are my brother. He says brother.
Okay, he says brother.
Specifically brother.
So in the sub, he says, "You are my friends." Because
Brother, I think goes farther.
I think it absolutely goes
Like
farther.
as a
yeah.
like as a comrade in arms. Like more than just a friend. Yeah, because it's funny, those characters. Everyone probably forgot them, but like, oh, they've been in the show.
And they mentioned that in that episode, like just as like a quick throw in line, but they're like we'd rather not have to kill these guys. Like we've been with them since we were cadets.
Right.
Like, just getting in, and they have all of those faces, like, and then with this, Annie's back too, which is funny because
dude, Annie
finally
the fuck is the pie scene in the anime.
Yes, it is.
That's
like,
hysterical.
They make it like a big thing about it.
I mean,
too,
it makes sense. She hasn't eaten, and Armin's like, Connie, she hasn't eaten in 4 years. like the way like he so seriously has to justify like why she's like gorging herself is like hysterical.
And it's funny, yeah, that she just kind of appears right next to them. Like,
And I think it's cool that they can get in those sweet spots of comedy when they can.
Yeah.
Because this anime, obviously it's super fucking serious, especially now.
Yeah.
So and they do, I think, really where they can, they get the jokes in, and they're very effective. Like usually, like there's not like one thing I'm gonna go like, oh, that doesn't make any sense. Usually, like the levity is like appreciated.
yeah, and it's a dark anime. Like it's very gory, it's very serious tone, and then I completely agree with you. They do a great job of introducing little bits of comedy from some of the characters, and like Sasha was obviously not around anymore, but like was one of the best at that. Like just serious moments, just like,
and then we get
out.
that in the last episode a little bit. I don't want to jump there just yet. I feel like we like that last episode is like definitely like a talker.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously the whole season is, but like that last episode, there's like a lot of like defining moments of the like does this happen because of this kind of thing?
No, and so we'll get to the last episode then. But now the beginning of the season was great, and like I think they did a great job too with like the grief of all the people who ended up drinking the spinal fluid in like the opening episodes. With like a lot of them gave up. Like the guy who helps, I forget his name, the one who helps Falco get out. He's just pretty much just like like what's the point? Like I'm dead.
He's just like fuck this shit.
Yeah, and then that's the whole scene with Falco himself when he turns, and like the sacrifice, and Pelliard's Galliard's line, I've always been better than you. Is that how he says it in the English too?
I think so. When he dies?
Yeah, as soon as he dies, he's just like, because Reiner right before he dies
it's
touches
something.
him.
It's something cocky. It's not like a nice thing. Like I forget.
It's deserved though, because like that scene was so strong where he touches him and he finally sees the memory of like he's always spited Reiner for the fact that he got the armor titan and he didn't, and he learns right then and there that his brother's actually the reason why he didn't get it, because he like sabotaged him. And he realizes he was always worthy, and that's why he decides right then and there, perfect time for him to sacrifice himself, especially for Falco. And I thought that was such a good scene.
It is funny how we go from like, I think there's like maybe 3 or 4 episodes of like when the Eldians and Marlians are just fighting, and then the switch of like, oh fuck. Like, all right, we gotta work together. But I think going back to a point where you said about like the soldiers who drank the spinal fluid, and everyone's kind of just like done at that point, or some people are kind of done fighting. I feel it's funny how like Connie, John, Jean, like pretty much Armin, and like maybe not Mika's, everyone is like, I'm fucking done with this shit. Like, I don't think Mika's, like, vocalizing it per se, but, like, Armin's having, like, panic attacks. He's, like, Mika says something to him about Eren, and he's like, you're fucking thinking about Eren? Like, fucking loses it.
Yeah.
And then he's obviously, it's like, the fact that Aravind'S death is sort of in his conscious because he was picked over him.
Yeah. He walks out of the room in that scene, and he's like, I know the like answer now, like he was the right choice. And then but that leads up to a little bit later when Connie takes Falco and he's thinking about feeding him to his Titan mother. And he's like, yeah, crazy. And Armin at that point though does make the choice to sacrifice himself, and he jumps, and Connie saves him, and then in turn, Armin saves Connie.
Yeah, it's funny because like in that scene, I'm like, nah, he's not gonna go through with it. Like, there's no fucking way. Like they're I sort of knew from like just seeing the episodes that already aired that like he doesn't go through with it, but it is kind of like a moment. It's like, well, he's not gonna feed him. It's just kind of like a crisis of conscious moment where he's just gonna like do what he thinks is best for himself, but he's not really gonna go through with it. And it's like, yeah, let's just clean the fucking teeth. My mom.
Because and he's sitting there at the fire like thinking like, what do I even say, like, because this kid's so nice. And I think
it's funny. Falco is really just like sort of like the innocent one. He never really like shows this like warrior side that like Gabi clearly has.
Yeah, and
I fucking hate Gabi.
I was gonna ask you that, so I was gonna say like reading some of like the boards and people who talk about it, everyone hates Gabi. Like
I how can you like her?
So honestly, like reading the manga, like I never got like a sense of hatred for her. I feel like they introduce her in such a way that like it's like, all right, another main character in the sense that you feel for her a little bit more. I've always liked her character. I don't know. I guess maybe that's from just reading the manga for a while and then going to anime.
Yeah, but like from the moment they introduced her, I'm like, I don't know about you.
But I thought it was funny, and she had so many good scenes though, and redemptions though in this arc. I feel like, or this season as a whole,
because she is like the opposite end, the fully racist one.
Yeah.
Just kind of going through the motions of like what she's been brainwashed to do, and then she kind of like with the Browse family and like being with them, like she's kind of like seeing it a little bit, but then she finally kind of cracks. I'm like, all right, this is kind of fucked up. And same with like Magath is the same way.
Yeah,
like they all kind of like, I don't think Peak was like a full on racist. At least she doesn't seem like it. But yeah, like there's those characters with who were like fucking Marley to the end, who like really just do the 180.
Yeah, and I think that's great because like we were saying earlier, a lot of this is like who's right and who's the main character, kind of like that you're following through all of this. Outside of Eren, like when they're, all of them come together at the end, it's great. Like seeing the team of how many different people like switch sides and like who's there. Like you got Hanj and Levi there, and then you have obviously Armin and Mikasa, and then Magath, and then what's his name?
Shadis.
Shadis comes in at the end in that scene where like, that was amazing.
Such
a cool,
good.
Yeah,
it was like, dude. Like he's like, he's like, what is he says like, what's your name? And he's like, Keith Shadis.
Yeah,
Theo Magath. And this scene in the dub is fucking good. Like there's just like their delivery and like both their voices, and like obviously Shadis has been with us since season 1, but Theo Magath, like, oh god, that his voice actor, like they both sell that scene. And like I didn't really get the idea that like he was going to kill himself.
It's
like at first I'm like, oh, he's staying behind, like makes sense, but I'm like, oh no, he's blowing up this fucking boat. By the way, push your mic towards me a little bit.
Okay, cool.
Just so it's leading like in front, a little more.
Okay.
Yeah, just so it's not like in front of your face.
Yeah. In front of the camera.
I'm watching it.
No, it's cool.
Gotcha.
Thank you. And on top of the other commanders, Pixie's in this season too was awesome.
Yeah, and another one who's kind of like, all right, I'm done. Yeah, let's see what we can do.
He gets out of the jail cell and he's like, yeah, I'm good, but like I had a drinking problem, and like right then and there, he's like, all right.
I think it's really cool when they're on the tower with I guess the whole crew's kind of up there. With some like additionals, and they jump off, and that's when they kill them all.
Yeah.
And we haven't talked about Yelena yet.
Yeah.
Her crazy fucking plan going super awry. I really like her. She's an interesting character.
She's a great character, like, and again, one of the characters where you're like, is she right? Like, is the euthanization plan like the right thing to do?
I was just never on board with that, because it like taking the ability to reproduce away from an entire like sect of people seems like might as well just kill him.
No, absolutely. It's a hard choice,
It's
but
a
at
little
the
more
same
fucked up version of killing them.
it is, but it's one of those moral dilemmas where it's really hard. Is like, is it genocide or is it, no more Titans in the future this way? And so it's hard. I agree. Like I think, and that's why our main character Eren, like you knew he was never from one second
he's
going
spinning
with that.
Zeke and like Flock's in on it, and Flock's following Eren's lead, and Yelena's just like, fucking all, she's like, they gotta touch, they gotta connect.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen. And then you get the famous like Zeppelin fire scene, and then her like angry look with Armin, which is like,
meme.
what's funny? Like I watched that scene, and I still don't really get why she made like that face, like she makes it.
So
like it's really interesting. Maybe it's like in Japanese it makes more sense, like in their culture, but like I'm like, why would she be looking at him like that?
Yeah, it was a little weird. Like after thinking about it, what I got from it was like, she like what did he say then and there?
He was peeved that he even doubted Zeke, I think.
Yeah, and he was like, we have to save them both. And she was looking down at him like, is he telling the truth or is he like bullshit?
See, I always thought it was just like, how dare you like even question the like Zeke, like,
oh, okay,
and then
I
like,
can see that
no,
too.
you got him.
But it was weird, and it did make for some funny memes though. I feel like after that episode came out,
the face is great. I mean, like, trust me, I'm just like looking back, I'm like, okay, like why would she be like mad at him? Like she's gonna go save them, but I think it's just the fact that she knows that Armin really isn't on board with the euthanization plan, and with I'm trying to say his name right. Onyan Capone.
Oh, I know. I can
Onyan
never
Capone.
say his. Yeah. Okay. Especially because in Japanese,
curious.
that's how they say it. But like they say it so quickly in Japanese, and like
Onyan Capone. Like they say the whole thing and like pretty like slowly, like in the dub, like they don't like breeze through it at all. So like every time they say it, they're like Onyan Capone. it's like all right, let's just say it again.
Nah, and he's a good character too, and like
because he's kind of like this neutral party in the exchange, because he's like a foreigner, but he's a Marleyan, but he's a volunteer Eldian. Like he's like three things at once. So he's like, like, I'm not one of you. I'm not a Marleyan. Like I'm just fucking here.
yeah. And then and into like the middle of the season, some of the 2 episodes, they literally stop and they just go flashbacks.
Oh when we're in the paths dimension, and I totally almost were like breezed by that. Yeah, where Zeke and Eren are kind of going back in like their pivotal moments, and then you get the meme where he's talking to Grisha, and I thought all that stuff was really.
It was awesome, yeah. Like, and you find out that the Attack Titan has the power to basically manipulate the future and the past, because it was really confusing. I feel
time
like
travel shit. It always gets confusing.
Yeah, if especially just like from the episodes, but like from reading it and like now watching, I think they did a good job of explaining it a little bit better too. Like it seems that like Eren basically like manipulated his dad into doing it, and like
in that moment he goes back in the past, and that future is the present / past.
Yeah, and it's
that's
interesting.
What
like that's why his dad's like crazy, like saying like, Zeke, is that you? Like it was done well. Like that was I like the episode after that though, where they go into Ymir's past. And like how
pig.
the pig goes out. And
the fucking pig. You know what's funny? When Eren goes in the last episode where he goes, how did this all start? And it's a picture of the fucking pig.
Yeah, it does. I was
very right. Very funny though. Because
it's
like, like literally a pig goes lost and Ymir gets blamed for it. And then that's all that shit starts.
And that episode's dark.
Parasite thing attaches to her spine, and oh man. Like I loved seeing all that stuff, because like, there's so much like deep background lore with all that, so to see it like fully animated and finally like revealed, and all those the outro the outros to the anime, like, oh, this is what that was, like it's the picture of like I guess it's Ymir with like the little devil with the apple, and it's like painted a little differently, but like that's what we're seeing here. And we do see the rumbling in season 2 in the outro as well, which was interesting. And it's like, oh man, real quick, the fucking opening, what a bop!
What an awesome song, dude. Newer animes have been just killing it with the
And
music.
when I
lately.
first heard it in English, I was like, English? I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I actually, funny enough, was listening to it on the way here because I was like, it's such a good song.
Dude,
like,
it's going to be my Spotify, like, top. I've listened to it so much.
Yeah.
I really have.
like, and I think it's just called The Rumbling.
It is just called The Rumbling.
Yeah, and
It's coming.
the visuals though were awesome, like
Yeah.
so cool. And then seeing him grow up, like that's always an anime thing. But
Oh, yeah.
yeah, no, that's what a song.
Where were we?
We were on the memories.
Yeah. That whole episode was like kind of needed, and then like I love how Eren like fucking rips his thumbs off to get out of the thing, and there you think like at first like Eren think he has Zeke, but Zeke one-ups him, and then Eren one-ups him again, and then Zeke tries to be like, oh, like, listen to me, Ymir, I have the royal blood, and he starts running, and Eren's like, don't fucking listen to him. I really like that scene, though, where she's like, like, she, like, winces, like, I guess she's, like, crying or something, and, like she winces and, like, winces her teeth, and
it's the first time you see her eyes, too, actually.
Yeah, right, because her eyes are always, like, covered over, because I guess, like, this, she's the idea of, like, she's a slave, and she just does what she's told, and she knows nothing else but to do that. And then she's finally told for the first time, it's like, like, you don't have to fucking do it. And then the rumbling fucking begins when the parasite comes out of Eren's head and reattaches to his body. And then the founding, I guess it is the founding Titan.
Yeah, so that's when he gets and that we skipped right over that amazing scene though of Gabby shooting off his head. Like,
with the fucking anti-Titan
it
rifle.
Just like I saw that scene. I forget how many years ago it came out now, like 2 years ago.
Yeah,
but in
not
the
too
manga,
long ago.
yeah, no,
it's not that they ended the anime pretty recently. Yes, I saw it as well, so I knew that was coming.
Yeah, but oh my god, that was awesome.
And you know what's funny? Even though I was kind of spoiled on some stuff, like it didn't really like make it less impactful. I was still really into it. Like,
oh yeah,
every episode is so epic. Like literally, like the entirety of it. I was never once like bored. Like when
I agree.
And I've never watched an anime in syndication.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the first time I started Attack on Titan when it began.
Sure, yeah.
And like I'm seeing it through to the end, and I've never watched an anime like that. So kind of like watching it like week to week and being like, fuck, dude, I can't wait for next Sunday. Like was awesome because like I haven't felt like that about a show in a while. Like a long time ago, like with The Walking Dead, it was like that. And like I think it's rare where a show like really captures like its audience and like, as soon as you see that to be continued, you're like, fuck, bro.
Yeah.
Like you're mad. Like, oh, I just want to see more. I just want to see more.
Yeah, no, and it's cool. I feel like Attack on Titan got a lot of people who don't normally watch anime into it. Like,
well, and I think that this is also another thing. Like when we were kids, like anime was not cool, but like people watched it.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Dragon Ball and Naruto and One Piece. But now it's a little different.
Yeah,
like, dude. So my neighbor for Halloween, sort of off tangent topic. It's relevant.
Yeah, sure.
She dressed up as a My Hero Academia character for Halloween. She's 9.
Wow.
And I'm just like, what? And I'm like, I don't watch My Hero, but I'm like, you're a character from My Hero Academia. And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, wow, holy shit. I was just like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So
that's
like,
awesome.
I'm like, I don't even know if that show is like, I guess it can't be like super adult. But
I mean, it's got like the normal, anime.
like Naruto.
Yeah, it's like I would say right on the same level
I'm just sitting here
of
and
One Piece, Naruto.
And I've been out at cons and I've been like, I'm like, kids watch My Hero.
Yeah,
I'm like, that really strange. Like,
no, that's one of like the bigger new ones. I feel like it's that Attack on Titan, Demon Slayer.
Yeah.
Also like went huge. And then the newer one that I love too, this is off topic for sure, but Jujutsu Kaisen, that's been a recent
I've
one.
heard of that.
And that theme song, I will give one of the best anime songs out there. Like, or the ending song.
Anime has entered this era of mainstreamity.
It has.
For sure.
And they're doing great with it. Like,
and like Attack on Titan, I feel like almost started it back in 2013. It's crazy to think this anime is 10 years old.
Yeah, it is. I remember when my friend like came up to me and was just like, "Yo, you got to read this one. Like, it's got one of the best concepts in anime history." And yeah, I started reading it like a little bit after it came out. I caught up after a little while, but yeah, definitely top tier for making it mainstream, like you just said. That's
Trio's in chat, and he just mentioned the fact that he watched the only anime he's ever watched is One Piece, the first season of One Piece, and that's another anime that kind of did the same thing, but like it was the comedy aspect. It was like, all right, we're gonna make fun of like the anime tropes and stuff, and kind of make that the like idea of the show.
One Punch Man.
Oh, what did I say? One Piece.
One Piece. Yeah,
I meant One Punch.
No, dude, you gotta watch One Punch Man. And the manga right now has still been crazy, but it's such a weird concept of a character who's literally depressed because he's too strong. But like, it's so good. And honestly, probably the best art style in any anime I've ever read. I hate myself for forgetting the name of the artist for One Punch Man, but wow.
The guy who did the manga.
But the manga, and then
studio.
season 1, whatever studio did season 1 for One Punch Man, also unbelievable. But yeah, the manga itself, the drawings are just so well done. It's totally worth it, and it's hilarious.
Yeah,
the whole time.
Yeah, I got to check it out. But yeah, the rumbling.
Yeah. Wow, the wall breaking, that scene was awesome.
You know what's funny? I almost forget that in season 2, there's a little, I would barely call it an arc. I'd barely call it like a fucking storyline, but there's a narrative beat of there's people worshiping the fact that there are titans in the walls.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow. How on point was that?
I was trying actually thinking about that on the way here. Like, did they mention that in season 1 too? Like when Bertholdt and Reiner break the wall in the beginning, they mentioned the Titans in the walls, right? And like that's been something from the beginning. I don't know if
they mentioned it then.
I'm trying to think because I feel like
I don't know how they necessarily like come to that conclusion either.
Yeah.
But I know we get the picture of the one Titan. I forget, why does that wall crack?
Yeah, and we see the eye. I don't remember.
And where it is, like I'm just like I know it's like a big thing, but like I'm like, why does it happen? And does the wall just like crack away and he's just there?
But no, when he activates that, it's and like dude, Armin and Mikasa are there, and they're like, wait a minute, why the fuck are all of the walls down? Like now there's thousands of these things.
I think the best part about it is the fact that like when Mikasa Mikasa and Armin are right next to each other, and he's like, I can't hear you.
Yeah,
and I'm like, nice atmosphere builder. The fact that like it is so loud and there's so much steam going on, and like they can't fucking hear each other. And she's like screaming at him like to talk to him, and like Armin's like do the exposition dump of like, all the walls are coming down. Like, he doesn't need all the walls to take down Liberia. Like, what's he doing? Yeah. And then the fucking Eren Yeager. the moment, the loudspeaker moment where that one alien is on the toilet and he's like, holy shit.
Yeah. No, they really set the atmosphere really great for that whole thing. And then like,
they're all in the paths dimension together.
And then when they talk and he hears all of them, they all hear him say it, but also like with the steam and like when the Titans at the end are like going under the ships and stuff, and they bring that steam over and burn the character.
I was like, I figure they just kind of walk through the sea. I mean, like, okay, I guess they're swimming with their big fucking feet.
Yeah, I mean, they're faster than a horse galloping because they get there quickly. Like this is a very fast paced thing that's happening.
I'm curious. I don't know if or in the anime if it is even obvious. I guess it's like a day or two. So when they camp in the woods, that's only a day literally has passed, or like maybe a few hours because they're at nighttime. So they camp in the woods. They go to that port city in Parody. I don't think it actually is named what it's called.
Yeah, I don't.
But they go there. And then they're crossing the sea, and the rumbling reaches them, and I guess that's like the next day.
Yeah, because
6 hours.
Yeah, they say like, oh, it's gonna take half a day or something like to fix the boat or something. And she says like, oh, this much will be
6 hours. Yeah, I remember that.
But no, and it's cool because it's nice that this is ending with like this huge time limit, like going on with the world is literally just being trampled.
Yeah,
on
stomp the world flat, as he says.
Yeah, and now all of the main characters from every section, are just together against Eren, I guess. And
yeah, I mean, it's cool to see, obviously, Jean get his punch into Reiner, and like, these characters really haven't been together since the betrayal in season 2.
Yeah.
So we're kind of getting their first, like, I'm sure, you know, like now that he's in front of them, like, you know, I'm sure he wasn't losing sleep over it at this point, but now that he's in front of him, like, he's like, fuck you, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, even Annie is almost more interestingly like she's so hostile sometimes. And then like when they're on the boat at the end, like obviously like she's sort of like begging Mikasa to be like, you have to kill him. Like,
yeah.
And you know, I like Mikasa's whole thing this part of this season has been the fact that like she's struggling with the idea of like going up against Eren because she obviously loves him.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to hear your take on that whole thing in that last episode because and also about her Ackerman bloodline and the fact that it's interesting. So obviously let's just jump to that part where she, you know, they're Eren goes to the you know, they get to the mainland. This is before beginning of season 4.
Yeah.
They're on the mainland and they get to this like foreigner camp sort of outside. Is that's Liberia, right?
I don't know for sure, but I think so.
Yeah, so they're outside Liberia and he's crying, and I think it's because he realizes this is it.
Yeah, so at that moment I really think he's thinking like,
or fuck,
no,
I gotta
he's
kill
like,
all these people.
Yeah, or he's actually I think that he's more so thinking like, look, like maybe I don't have to do this, because he asks Mikasa at that moment, like, what do you think of me?
In the dub and the sub, it's the exact same.
Oh,
the
nice.
lines are almost to the T the same,
and that's like, good because
that is a moment, you know.
That was a powerful scene, and I think
you
she was afraid to say it. Obviously, she said your family, and I think if she said that he loved him at that point, he would have said and stopped, and like I think he still would have did what he did, where he disappears in that scene at the end of it. That's when he stops, and then brings us back to, I guess it was the beginning of season 3,
right, where
4.
I guess he enters some sort of battlefield, wounds himself, and
so
disguises as a vet.
So he can go in there and spy, and then obviously kill all the people that he did. And the next time Mikasa sees him is actually in that moment when she drops onto his shoulder.
The declaration of war.
Yeah.
So, and then the other thing, back to the Ackerman bloodline thing, I think he asked Zeke about that because he's trying to justify why she would act the way she does if she doesn't love him.
Yeah.
I think that's what he was trying to like justify to himself, why she would act the way she does to him if she doesn't like him.
Yeah.
And it was almost like he was like trying, like, yeah, like finding a reason as to like, why doesn't she like me? It's like a very, not childish, very, what's the
immature
word?
kind of.
I wouldn't say like immature
or naive. I don't know.
Very, like, and I don't want to say it's like, it's not childish. It's like, I don't know, normal.
Yeah. And I think he's also struggling with the fact that at this point in time, what does he have? Maybe max 4 years to live.
That's also another thing I kind of forget about.
Yeah. So he knows that, and he's like, all right, I want all of them to have long lives. Like he says that at one point, that's his like main mission. And that's why he's trying to just kill everyone else in the world so that they can live. And with that, he's like, well, shit, if you're with me, like that's nothing. So, and I think he's just so torn in that moment, but that's when he makes the final decision. Like, yeah, I'm going to kill all of these people.
Yeah, I'm going to do
like,
the rumbling. I'm going to fuck these guys up.
And he just changes so drastically.
And then we see
there.
the scenes where he's talking to Flock and Historia, which I wish we got more of her, because I feel like, she's pregnant, 1, 2, she's the queen. And like, she's so like, I guess it's the same way in the manga that she's just kind of like almost forgotten.
Yeah, they like, sideline her pretty hard for sure.
And I like didn't like it because I feel like her like Historia, Krista sort of becoming Historia and then becoming queen is like a huge sort of like twist for that character.
And it's also like one of the most important parts of the entire thing based on what happened in the season where she literally like he tells her I'm gonna kill everyone and she's freaking out and like. Basically, she could go and inherit the beast right then and there and like stop him. And she says like, I need to stop you. But then, he assures her that like, it's the right thing and whatever. And she comes up with the idea of like, maybe I get pregnant. And that's what allows Eren the time he needs and to allow Zeke to live. So she is such an important character that I feel like they should have definitely given us more.
What is different? Is there any differences between the manga and the anime? Or is it almost to the T the same?
It's pretty. I feel like this season especially was really well done and kept the source material a lot. I feel like last season I felt like they had skipped a little bit. It felt a little bit harder to follow in how fast paced things were going. But I mean, in terms of it, there's not really too much filler at all, and it just sticks with the story.
No filler. Especially at this point.
Yeah, it's just straight story. But I think it does pretty well, and they're doing a good job animating things and making it more easy to understand in such a complex world where, like, again, you introduce time travel and everything is out the window. Like, it's what is going on?
It gets very confusing.
All the inherited memories.
Yeah, like even from somebody who like watches The Flash and like kind of like, keeps up with that shit, I'm just kind of like, I'm like, okay, let me know, tell me if I have this straight. Like,
how about his Titan form though? In the end, you finally see it at the end. He's this like huge spine.
It's
basically
crazy how many like versions of his Titan form there are. Like we have this like beast Titan looking thing at the end of when he's talking everyone through their blood. And then, when he's like first transforming, he looks different. And then when he finally crosses the ocean, he's like attacked / founding Titan combined. Yeah, it is wild looking.
It's like literally
basically like a big spider with a spine.
Yeah, and he's like 60 times the size of like all of the colossal Titans, which is like massive.
Right. Like I can only imagine like what the actual size of that Titan like really is.
And it's funny, I think we will get that in one of like the little mid-episode stops where it gives you a quick fact or something like that.
Those, dude.
I know some of them are really good.
Like I pause and what was one was really funny or not funny, like very interesting. It's in I think it's in the second to last episode, and it's kind of like I wish I could like pull it up on my Twitter real quick because I tweeted about it, and it was like it's something about like when like it's something about like identifying an enemy, and like when we're at war, countries are the enemy, and like kind of involves, and it ends with like wherever there are like different ideals, there will always be an enemy.
Yes, okay, I remember that.
Oh my god,
yeah,
like that's hitting me hard. But yeah, it ends with the fact that like as long as the people hold firm to different beliefs, there will always be an enemy.
Yeah,
like,
and that comes up in the show itself too, when like I forget their name. They start with the A. The Asian of the races of
Azumabito.
Yes. So, and
that's
she
the clan. I don't know what their race is actually called.
I think they're based in like the Asia, because like I'm pretty sure Attack on Titan's world is still clan. Like it's still like kind of like Earth. Like it has like the same continents structure.
Yeah.
But anyway, like when she's being held by a flock and he's got the gun to her head, and then it kind of cuts scene and then goes back to her fighting back, and she says that she's like, even if you get what you want, you're just gonna keep killing people.
And that's what essentially the volunteers and the the volunteers and I guess the, what are we calling them? The other group, the main characters.
The Yeager. Well, no, the new group.
So it's the volunteers, the Yeagerists, and then the main characters.
They're trying to save the world. I guess.
Right. And then they're infighting, and it's like she's right. Like if they're just gonna fight between themselves.
Yeah.
And I thought it was really interesting, like especially with Jean, and like when after the rumbling happened, he's in his room. He's like, you don't hear it. Don't answer it. Like, you can have a good life. Fuck this shit. And I'm just like, wow. That was like another thing going back to when I said like they all are done with this.
They are.
Nobody wants to fight anymore.
Yeah, Connie freaks out at one point and says, "I'm tired of being betrayed by Bertolt, Reiner, by Eren, by every single person that's important." Yeah, and it is, and that's why it's such a tragedy of a show. Like it really grabs your emotions in that.
And I know, so we promised we wouldn't say anything about like what happens, I guess what is going to happen in part 3. And I know some stuff, but I don't really know how this ends or how it's going to end. Like obviously it's like, okay, like who stops Eren? Right. Like that's the thought.
You know, exactly. And
but like I don't know what's gonna happen.
yeah, and I won't say anything because it is worth just having it happen right in front of you because they do a great job of wrapping everything up. And I think that just the last chapter in general, actually, funny enough, once I finished watching this season recently, I went and I read the last chapter again because I was just like, I already know what it is, like whatever.
Right.
And amazing, like it really does come to a close. And you know what, Attack on Titan will probably end right under 100 episodes. I think it was like 138 chapters. Not too bad.
I think we're in the 80s.
That's what I think it was. I think the newest one ended at like 78 or 79. It might have been 80. Could have been 88.
I think it was 86 or something like
really?
that. Or 87.
Something around there. But either way, like, 100 episodes to finish this whole thing up. But
yeah.
Nah, I think, the ending was deserved. Like I said, once they started going into the aspect of like, all right, these Titans aren't the only problem. Like humans are the actual problem. Like it changed the story so drastically. A lot of people were like kind of against it. A lot of people were like,
dude, season 2 didn't grab me.
Yeah.
The betrayal, okay, cool. But I was like, something's here that obviously I don't know about yet.
Yeah.
I'm really confused like about Amir and like the character Amir, not like, the girl Amir. That doesn't really help describe her either. Amir, the character that she's with Krista.
Yeah, so and honestly, her character was awesome. Like
who the fuck is this? And like season 3, and I'm like, whoa. Like, holy shit, this show's getting good. Like season 3 hooked me.
Yeah.
And I became like an Attack on Titan like fucking evangelist. Like it happened pretty quick. Like season 1, I was like, like I said at the beginning, like Trost, I think like this whole season is kind of like a Trost. We're just in this battle.
Yeah.
And then season 2 happens, we get the Bertold Reina betrayal, which is the top 10 greatest anime betrayals, like literally.
Oh yeah. 100%.
And then, that goes through it. And then we get to season 3, and that's when the show like really makes this twist and like makes all this really slow story stuff just super worth it and super deserved.
Yeah, definitely. And now that it's all culminating in the end, it's coming together nicely. And I'm excited. Like, to be honest, like there's some chance that it will go into a part 4. Like it depends
is
how.
Is there enough left? And I guess how many episodes they decide to do in this last part.
Yeah, this last part was 9, right? Yeah.
I think both parts were 9.
Okay, so yeah.
And they don't really necessarily have to do 9. They can do more. Especially if it's like, all right, we need 12. We're just going to do 12.
Exactly. And I think if they do 12, they could definitely do it. I'm trying to remember how much exactly is left to tell. But I mean, also with the anime, like this is a good chance to expand a little bit.
You think they're going to do that?
I mean, it depends. How much is the writer involved in the show? Probably. Okay, I'm not crazy into the anime behind the scenes like some people are either. Know. But I mean, like just expand some of the flashbacks, some of the stuff like that. Like, who knows? But I mean, I think they could wrap it up in the next season and.
Yeah, it was crazy to think, like, now that we're done with part 2, it's like, oh, like, how did I think they were going to finish on that?
The problem with these parts, though...
Like, this is the end. Like, let's go.
It keeps feeling like a mid-season finale, though, where, like, something crazy happens and you're just like, crap, now I got to wait. Like, it ends... Well, it did end in a cool note where, like, how it ends with the stomp on the credits.
Intro. Yeah.
Just like it started. And,
oh, right. Yes. Yeah, on the butterfly.
Yeah.
And like, we didn't talk about the outro, but the outro is awesome. Like,
yeah,
the lyrics
really
to that
good.
song, and I'm like, I'm kind of fine. Not that I never realized it, but like, there's a lot of symbolism with Eren and birds flying out of cages and being free, and like, I'm like, this symbolism of Eren being like a bird trapped in a cage, but like,
so
what's the price that he has to pay to achieve like ultimate freedom? And it's like, it's really never worth it.
And it's so funny that you mentioned that, and like, this is where I'll say, like, I can't say why I think this, but that's become such an important aspect in the end.
Okay.
And it's cool that you're noticing that now. Like,
yeah, I mean, it's really hammering home. But like, now that I've like seen things and like go back, I'm like, oh, they're always like focusing on birds.
Yeah, they are. And that becomes a big aspect for Eren's character culmination in the end. And like, it's
Poor kid.
It really is, because you watch the early seasons and he's so innocent. He's got them big like blue anime eyes that just like sparkle at everything. And then these later seasons where you're talking about the lines, like you see him only one single time, I think, without those stress lines that they draw, and that's
dude,
when he's
his
drinking
face is so.
with the people. And
Thank
like,
God you brought it back up. I meant to bring that back up when they're drunk and he's like happy.
it's the only time in the whole season that you see him.
And it's
smile.
really interesting. It's just like, it was like, where do you think he was like in that moment? Like, even though Mikaza didn't like profess her love to him, that was kind of dramatic way to say it, but like it's kind of what it was.
Yeah.
And like Mikaza, we didn't mention that, like, you know, in the beginning of the last episode, she's like sitting there like being like, I don't think I said the right thing.
Yeah, and she realizes
Not that she questions it, but like she does, but I think she really believes that she didn't say the right thing.
Yeah, and then going with the professing the love, you know, how about Falco's profession to Gabby too?
She's like, what? Who? We don't have time for this.
Yeah, no. I honestly though, I really like that scene though, because it really showed, you know, like you brought up earlier that he's an innocent character, and you know he
Falco,
wasn't trying to be a warrior, but he had such a strong heart that he wanted to rather sacrifice his life for the 13-year span that you can be a Titan and make her do it.
Right.
And you know, him then turning into the Jaw Titan, which we haven't even talked about the form that they gave
we
him.
didn't talk about that. Yeah,
pretty crazy.
Bird form.
Yeah, he's got a bird form. Like,
I mean, his name is fucking Falco.
I know, which is
like,
funny.
Very ironic in the sense of Eren's bird symbolism and his name.
Yeah, because I think like all of the Titans actually do take some form based on
their personality.
Yeah, based on the personality, and like, you know, I don't know how much they've gone into this in the anime so far, but basically you see Zeke, and like he's this huge ape with like long arms that are so good for throwing, and they constantly in the anime show him tossing the baseball because he always wanted his dad to do it.
It's an S.
It's
that guy.
Well, it starts with a K in the Japanese thing. I think it's like in the subs, it's like KS, so the K is silent.
Really?
Yeah, it's like Saver or something. It's
yeah,
weird.
You're close.
Yeah.
You're close.
I can't remember exactly though. That's the one good thing about subtitles, though. You actually get to read their names because even when I watch dub, though, a lot of times I do watch the subtitles.
So
anyway.
you've been pronouncing Reiner.
Yeah,
and like they pronounce it Reina.
Reina.
Like it's like a German word. Yeah, it's clearly a German.
Oh,
name.
interesting. Yeah, in the Japanese way, they're like Reina.
Yeah, it's like they clearly are saying Reina.
Oh,
like
wow.
It's an A, and like even like Bertold, like I don't think I'd know necessarily how to say that.
I don't know what ethnicity that comes from.
It's German.
German?
Okay, there's a
okay.
lot of German.
Yeah,
Yeager soldier in German.
It's definitely a lot of German.
Obviously, Mika's not.
No, well, she's supposed to be Japanese, basically.
Right. Yeah. Armin, Allright. They're all like kind of German names. Jean is definitely German. Yeah, like Hanji.
And he doesn't go Colossal Titan even once in this, does he?
He doesn't.
Yeah.
But you can kind of tell like he doesn't really like want to be the Titan.
He's fighting against the fact that he thinks
he does
Erwin
it
should have
once, and
lived.
he didn't like when he did. You know, they did it in Liberia, and they wipe out the harbor, and he's like, "All right,
And
that's it. That's your one."
That's so crazy too. And like the cool thing is this season really actually goes into depth why they had to do that, but Eren pretty much just straight forced them to do that. And like that sucks.
He put them in the position where it's like, all right, they have to retaliate with me.
And like showing those flashbacks in this season where like you see like, you know, right before he disappeared, like that hurts that much more that he did that.
Dude, he fucking poking out his eye with the bullet. I'm like, Jesus,
that fight was amazing. Though the Liberia fight.
Yeah.
But like we brought up earlier, the beginning fight of the season that was just so awesome.
Yeah,
with Ryan.
In part one where Porco like is like fucking, these are the devils, and like Levi, and they're all like they're coming out, and you're like, yeah, you know, because it's the first time you see like the whole group in like 4 years, and they're all like different, and they're wearing like different gear, and now they're Thunder Spear ODM gear with like pistols on the end of it. It's like. You know what it reminds me of too, really quick as we kind of wrap up here.
Yeah.
You know how Full Metal Alchemist does the same thing with its time period sort of thing.
Time skip?
Not time skip, but they're sort of right on the edge of like the Industrial Revolution and going into guns. Like they do the same kind of thing.
I loved that about this, like how like they had guns. Like, and honestly, like a lot of them look
they
like
have
German.
rifles.
Like rifles, guns, and like, you know, a lot of animes haven't gone too crazy far into that. as much as Attack on Titan does, and Full Metal Alchemist is also right along that line.
Yeah, and I know there's a movie with like they go to like Germany in like another dimension.
In what?
In Full Metal.
I don't know if I've watched that movie.
It's something of Shambhala or something like that, and there's like a different world where it's in like Nazi Germany, like literally.
Wow.
Yeah.
Have you watched that anime?
Yes, both.
Nice.
Of them.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, another great one.
So yeah, I'm trying to think. We kind of hit everything. We were bouncing off. You have notes, so like if there's anything we didn't like super bring up,
they're pretty much in order of like episodes as I was watching, just jogging down like, oh, this is cool. But we pretty much went through everything. The last notes that I had were the rumbling at the sea scene, and we kind of touched base on that already. But that was awesome.
When he turns and he goes, "Is that?" And not like the rumbling or like the attack titan.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh.
And we didn't mention how crazy
Eren.
it is that the whole world actually got together though to do that, and like these titans just destroyed
one thing we
them.
didn't talk about is like how like none of the guards and the Marlians like believe them.
Oh yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
And it is, I guess, like I don't know what I fucking believe.
And that was Annie's father too.
Yeah, he gets killed.
Yeah, and does he get killed?
Actually, we don't know.
They don't show
but
it.
He would get killed by the rumbling, which is why Annie gives up.
Yes. Yeah.
And we kind of skipped over that. We do get her sort of like background a little bit.
And
why
it's
she is
in
the
a
way she is.
comedic moment where they're riding the horse, and she's like, "Did you just tell me your life story?" And she's like, "I listened to you for 4 years. Like,
Talk about
you're gonna
boys.
listen." Yeah.
Hitch. I love Hitch.
Yeah.
Like I gotta admit, like every character in this show is like just really good.
Yeah, and funny enough, I was looking back like toward the end of the season, thinking like from season 1, like when it was just shit was hitting the fan left and right, and you were like, "Who's gonna live?" Like literally, everyone's getting eaten, and all these characters you like them, they're getting eaten. Like Connie to me was like, I didn't see him last until the end like this, and like he's become such a great
besides
character.
Sasha, most of them kind of make it through.
Yeah,
and
like
we get like Levi Squad, and they're like, oh cool, and then they're fucking done.
Yeah.
Seconds.
And then Levi not being in most of the season, and like
is interesting.
Well,
right?
what happens to him at the end
player.
of last season? You don't see him or Hanj again for 6 episodes maybe.
Yeah. We start out with Zeke. He's like reforming in the belly of that Titan, and he comes out and he's naked. But Hanji. So in they say her name is Hanji, not Hanj.
Okay.
In the dub.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying.
No, it's hilarious.
I wouldn't assume that either. Mm-hmm. I was listening to it. So Hanji and Levi, they jump on that raft and they float down. And then, dude, the way they open the anime with like when he's like, "Isn't that right, Eren?" and the rumbling comes on, I'm like,
yeah.
I don't skip openings or closings for any show I watch, anime or not.
Yeah.
So like, dude, like the song like just really gets you into this like hype mood.
Absolutely. I'm like that
show.
too. I'm very like
the people who skip the fucking intros on any show, like you guys are fucking
and
horrible.
Especially anime. Like they're always made for the show. There's so many that are just absolutely amazing. And like you said, they're timed in such a way that like it hits and you're like, damn, like this episode's about to be crazy.
Yeah. So that's Attack on Titan season 4 part 2. Hopefully, I guess we're in a year plus time. We'll be back talking about part 3 and how this wrapped up.
I think it's scheduled 2023, right?
Yeah. So I think they have a date, and it's literally like a year from when they announced it. So it'll be a while again.
Yeah.
And I guess we'll finish probably sometime deep into the summer of 2023.
Yeah.
Hopefully there won't be a part 4. I couldn't imagine that there being a part 4.
Yeah,
it just seems like unrealistic.
I gotta look, and I'll probably do that later on, where I'll go on and I'll see what chapter it ends on, in terms of where it just ended in the anime. Because like I said, they're on 89. And I think it ended at 138. So, and like. It does just like come to an end. So like it's not like there's not too much to drag out after the current arc.
Does it end with like an epilogue sort of thing, or does it just end?
Kind of like it tells you what happens in the future a little bit, but doesn't go into anything crazy. And it's
I
like,
like that shit.
Yeah. It drops it on a really nice note. Yeah. So not to get into too many spoilers. I guess that's a good place.
Yeah. Mike, I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for having me.
Very fun. How How do I do the outro? Guys, thank you for watching live on twitch.tv/Delco Nerd Network. You can catch this podcast where you listen to your podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, whatever. We're on it. And then you can watch youtube.com/Delco Nerd Network. You can catch us on our socials at Delco Nerds, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter. We also have a Discord where I'm usually gushing, or was gushing, about Attack on Titan. Now I'm just going to have to listen to the rumbling for a year straight until we get the new song/trailer. And it'll be a little bit, and I'll be sad for a year. Yeah, and you can find all that information on DelcoNerdNetwork.com. Guys, thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. Stay nerdy.